How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel. We're going to be talking about everything XRP here, really understanding, what we're looking at, and of course, what we could be expecting as we are going into Tuesday morning. Shout out to you guys. You guys are amazing, for tuning in on a regular day-to-day basis. If you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that red subscribe button and come join the Crypto ZX army. So exactly what we've discussed last night, if you did watch my updates, I did say that, this week is going to, see a lot of volatility. And this is exactly what has been happening with the crypto space. XRP holding really good though. Obviously there's some big news coming out once again. Despite the fact that, dominance is on the verge of breaking out and, actually hitting a new yearly high, we still have, XRP holding really, really good when you look at it from that perspective. XRP up about 2.7% right now, one of the very few coins that's still up right now. Price of XRP, $2.24, up 2% in Bitcoin compared to valuation at 131.9 billion. And the 24-hour trading volume is through the roof, currently sitting at about 4.2 billion. But before we get into any further, as always, just a quick disclaimer, anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So we have some big news coming out regarding ETF, XRP ETF. And you can see, Purpose Investments has received its final prospectus receipt, clearing the way to launch its XRP spot ETF. And Purpose Investments is, a Canadian investment firm. And, these guys are launching an XRP spot ETF in Canada, and it's going to be, listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange. And again, what we've discussed in our last few updates, it's not just, within the US, you're seeing this happening globally. There's so much demand coming in across the board. And I think this really gives us a better understanding that, this is next coming up. And I think SEC is well aware of that because Solana ETF, spot ETF in Canada is also live. Obviously, the Canadian market is not as big as, the one in US. So that is something that we need to keep in mind. But, this is a revolutionary moment here. And this is something that we don't want to be forgetting. And I think this is also playing a, huge role for the price itself. Look at the Coinbase XRP volume today, up 12,491%. Again, this is a huge increase, pretty much across the board right now. Like I said at the beginning of the video, we are seeing, a huge jump in the 24-hour trading volume right now, which of course is always nice to see. Look at this, so shout out to Smokes. It says, do the math. Swift moves $5 trillion every single day. That's 1.25 quadrillion per year. So 14% of that is $175 trillion. Brad Gerlinghaus' estimate was not conservative at all. And again, we know this, he's made this statement. And obviously, when you put this into perspective, you kind of get to realize, the dollar value as to, how big of a deal this really will be. And, this is a huge news, new filing for Ripple SEC. Both parties are in agreement that the court should continue to hold appeals in abeyance, with the commission to file a status report by August 15th, 2025. And look at this, the XRP ledger is showing serious signs of growth from both a usage and key stakeholder perspective. The amount of interacting XRP addresses have averaged over 295,000 per day over the past week. Its normal daily average over the past 3 months was approximately about 35 to 40,000. Additionally, there are now over 2,700 whales and shark wallets holding at least 1 million XRP for the first time in assets 12 plus year history. And believe it or not, even obtaining that much of XRP, these are bigger players coming on board because not everyone has about $3 million, $2 to $3 million sitting to obtain that much. So you can really see whale accumulation is happening. And this right here, the on-chain numbers, speak for themselves. And this is something I wanted to kind of go with you guys. But you can see the Ripple CTO, David Schwartz, says stablecoin issuers do not threaten Ripple and, in fact, benefit the ecosystem. You still need liquidity. The dollar aggregates demands for smaller currencies, and we see XRP, the native token, playing that role. Big statement coming out from the man himself. But look at this, XRP soars on market optimism as court ruling looms. The party filed the second joint motion on June 12th. Settlement terms include vacating the injunction prohibiting XRP sales to institutional investors and reducing the $125 million penalty. Judge Torres rejected the first motion in May. Judge Torres also found that the motion failed to argue the settlement served the public and institutional investors. The ruling is a crucial step towards resolving the case. If Judge Torres agrees to settle the terms, the SEC and Ripple would withdraw their appeals, ending the case officially. And of course, you can see, market intelligence platform sentiment said obviously this the amount of interacting XRP, average over 295,000, something we have discussed just now. So again, you can really see people are already, positioning themselves. But look at, speaking about volatility, look at the way the dominance skyrocketed over the last, few hours. Pretty much we were sitting at the likes of 64.43%. We spiked up to 65%, for the first time pretty much since the beginning of May. So you're starting to see that strength coming in again. And that is something we need to keep in mind. Bitcoin was able to break above 106,800 key resistance, making its way up to the 109,000. We did see a little bit of a retracement, which actually caused the dominance to go up and actually caused the altcoin market to kind of retrace, as we can see for ourselves. As far as XRP is concerned, though, XRP is looking amazing right now. We wicked up to $2.38 with the way the dominance is looking, and yet you still saw XRP, making its way up to that range. Obviously, due to Purpose Investments, spot ETF announcement, as well as what we're hearing regarding the SEC and Ripple case. It's really bringing in a lot of excitement. And the on-chain numbers don't lie, of course. But like I said, there's still the FOMC meeting taking place this Wednesday. And on top of that, I think we're going to hear some things about the G7 summit. You see how that can have an impact on the broader market. So we'll obviously need to be prepared for that. But XRP is looking amazing right now. It wants to break out, but yet you're still finding that key resistance around the $2.32, and really playing it out as a major resistance. If that is able to break, we will start heading into the 23.6 fib zone. But let me know down below what you guys think. Thank you for all your support. We'll see you later in Crypto ZX, and peace out.